Hello there fellow humans and welcome to Friday the 13th, and accordingly the offers in the shop aren't really that good. I mean, we had a Black Friday 2 weeks ago and there were a lot of good tanks to buy there, and now there isn't really much of that. So in the offer section we have a lot of gambling crates and the ultimate gambling right here, and I don't really recommend them whatsoever. If you are going to buy something, get yourself this big box of gold because it is going to last you a very long time if you just buy a few vehicles here and there, and if you fill it up, you're going to have a pretty good value there as well. It is much better value than the Snow Globe, which is 36 euros for possibly a tier 7, which isn't really all that great. Individual offers, they're always going to be fine. Then here, we've got a lot of credits and stuff like that. You don't really want that, but if you need times 5s, you need gold, this can be a useful bundle as well if you need it, but you have to know whether you need it or not. What you don't need is the SU-85i. Right here, it costs 2k gold, so the price is fine, but tank is kind of pointless. It's a tier 5 tank destroyer that you're probably never going to play unless you really like that one particular vehicle. Then we have a hilariously expensive bundle right here with the T95E2, which is a vehicle that's just about fine. Now the times 5s are unlocked, which does add extra value to the bundle, which is very lovely, but 8.5k for a tank that's worth like 4 isn't really all that great, and the times 5s and the boosters aren't able to make up the difference right there, because this is a very mediocre tier 8 medium tank. In terms of premium, it's even the bottom tier because it doesn't really have good penetration and it doesn't have good armor. The mobility is just about fine, so you don't want to have this to grind crits with. You want a Centurion 5-1, you want a Chimera, even a 122 TM. That's kind of the things that you want. You don't want this kind of thing. Like, the bundle is okay, but the tank, if this will be a Chimera, I'd recommend it, but the T95E2, it is not good enough to make up the value in this bundle right here. Then I have the Glory Hunters, which, if you didn't get the T56, either for free or in combination with the Turnwagen, then you don't want to get it in combination with a quite inferior tier 8 medium tank right here. The Object 590 was in the Black Friday shop 2 weeks ago, and if you didn't pick up that one, there is absolutely 0 point in picking up the 274A because it is inferior to that vehicle completely. But at least there are times 5 boosters in here, but again, it's not worth it. Then we have the 2 bundles here, right here still with the MX M449, and while the Unstoppable Friends here is a collector bundle that if you want to collect both of the vehicles and you want a sort of B tier premium tank in the MX M449, it can still hang, but it's not as good as a T77 or T42, but it can still definitely hang. And then you have a Kyler right here, which doesn't make as much credits as the Löwe, but is a slightly better tank anyway. This is a collector bundle right here. If you want to collect some vehicles, this could be a decent pickup. Otherwise, stay the hell away from it. And also 8.5k for a T26E4 is a absolute joke. These bundles used to be 5.5k with similar bonuses and rewards in them. Now, it's used to be 30 days of gold, now it's 25 times 5 boosters, but the price with also all the XP boosters used to be 5.5, now it's 8.5. That is what we call a lot of inflation, so stay away from those kind of bundles. And then we also have the Locust down here. It's a tier 3, you can sell it for gold, that's about all that it's worth, and you have 3 years premium, so there are better bundles out there. You can get the gold other ways than by selling the Locust. Obviously, the golden tickets, they're not worth it. You're just going to gamble all your gold away for like 1 million gold right here. And then in the crate section down here, don't forget to open your free containers right here, but ignore all the others. You've got lockboxes for a multitude of vehicles down here. Pretty much all the lockboxes, but none of them are worth it because lockboxes are, in terms of the system and also reward, even worse than most regular crates, so stay the hell away from those. And the rest, you know what it goes. Don't buy crates. Well, I was just about to upload the video, but the auction has already started, so H2BK30, don't buy that. 252U, buy it if it's 5k or lower, it's not worth that much. Astron Rex is trash. The FE201 is not really worth anything, unless you like mediocre tier 7 heavy tanks that don't really have a point. The KPZ-70 is a decent vehicle. I don't personally recommend it whatsoever. The Kennedy one is a great tier 9 that I can definitely recommend, especially if it drops down in price a little bit lower. This is the second best tier 9 heavy tank after the Object 752. So I can definitely recommend the Kennedy one if you want a tier 9 autoloader. It also has good gun depression, great armor, 1050 in the clip, which is very lovely as well. Then we have 2 tier 10s here, Chieftain. But here's the thing, it's the Hesh Chieftain, and the Hesh Chieftain is vastly inferior to the previous Chieftain, which is kind of annoying. But still, 14k and 13k for the T22 medium, I think these are good prices. Obviously, if you can, wait for price drops. But if you really can't wait, I think 13.5k and 14.5k are good prices for both of those vehicles. The T22, it's no KPZ50T, but it is relatively good. So if you love the T62A and you want the T22, then I can recommend it for that. If you've never played a Soviet medium, don't start with this one. Start with the 62A. The Chieftain, it's an expert's tanks now. It has Hesh. So if you can cope with that, the Chieftain is still a great option at a great price. If you can't, the Super Conqueror, the Concept 1B, those two will be much better options right there. But wait for the price drops. Hope that they won't be gone too quickly. But those two are going to be somewhat worth it. But obviously, at the front here, we have nothing of value. The two Tier 10s are quite good. So is the Kennedy one that I can recommend. So is the mau5tank worth it? The simple answer is no. The long answer, well, here's the thing. It is in one of those events that the Lightbringer was also in, and I didn't even remember that the Lightbringer was a thing. I had to ask on Discord. Here's the thing. These events are terrible, where you have to play every single stage, but you can only unlock every second one unless you pay for it, which is right there, the party pass, depending on your local currency. And you're going to get rewards that are somewhat mediocre. 100,000, 200,000 credits, 200,000 credits. That's like 2 battles worth of credit grinding with a premium account. Yeah, that's a great reward. Now the ×3s, they're somewhat useful, but the rest is just pointless cosmetics. Here's a couple of boosters, combat XP boosters that you can get for free, which is very nice. The free rewards here in the first 20 stages, the free rewards are better than the paid rewards, which is kind of funny. But you still need to pay for the party pass if you want to get this vehicle right here. And as you can see, it does have ears. Obviously, those ears don't have hitboxes, so don't worry. Also, that shield up there, just don't bother shooting at it, because there is a very convenient, almost triangle right here that you can fire at, and you will most likely pen with any Tier 8 premium rounds and Tier 9 standard rounds, because it doesn't have that much armor, 225mm. Low plate's a weak spot, as always. Sides and rear are also weak. The upper plate is quite well angled, but it is only 80mm, which means that if you're above the vehicle, you can fire down at it very easily. You're going to pen. But if you're below the vehicle, if the vehicle is using its 7 degrees of gun depression, then you're going to somewhat struggle to pen through that. So the armor, it's sort of like a slightly improved M46 pattern, kind of. Because that continues with the DPM, 2600 and 247 standard penetration, 329 with premium. I'm using calibrated on this vehicle, which I recommend as well because it's a somewhat autoloader. Now, this is the single shot gun, the one I recommend using. Also, I didn't know that you can make shells that look like this. So it's a very, very interesting shell shape and definitely very aerodynamic. Like, those aren't definitely not going to tumble midair and impact sideways. The aim time dispersion is pretty solid. 7 degrees of gun depression is good enough to get you where you need to be. It's obviously not great, but it does its job. Then mobility, nothing special again. 17 power to weight ratio, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing special here either. There isn't really anything about this vehicle that is great. There isn't really anything about this vehicle that is terrible. This is how I would equip it. Very simple, as always. It has a lot of special consumables that I personally don't use, but depend on what you want to use, just try them. I always recommend 1 multi-kit and 1 repair kit, and then the third, whatever you feel best with. And now let's play it. Let's find out if the shells do tumble mid-air, or if Wargaming does some magic right here to make them pretend like they actually work. Obviously, what's very important here is to deploy the tactical ears, because without those, the vehicle is quite a lot worse. Now, I'm gonna play this thing, I do play this thing, the same I would play any other Tier 9 medium tank for that matter, and that is go to a place with sufficient enough gun depression where I can just peek over and get a shot just like that to start off the battle. And then I want to find out where the enemies are, where can I go, do I need to reposition, do I have easy shots in the place where I am, or do I have to go somewhere else, or can I be rushed or anything of that sort. So start off with a default position that doesn't have to be the same every battle and every map, but start off in a place where you can hopefully get an easy shot, or I'll talk about that later. So start off with an easy position and then find yourself an approach from there, because right now most of the team are up at the top of the map, so we can go down here and fight the standard B and also the T-34 in the back as well and take care of that. Now let's talk about that giant T-30 for a second there, because I watch precisely one World of Tanks PC YouTuber, and that's the Mighty Jungles, and over the last couple of months, he's had a lot more replay problems with World of Tanks PC, and the same has happened in Blitz as well, where a lot of replays simply just crash, mostly at the end before the results screen. The entire game just crashes, or sometimes it just crashes mid-replay. And yeah, we also have a giant T30 over there, as you probably already noticed. So I would like to ask the question is, do you also have deteriorating replays, or is that just me? Because that giant T30 is new. Like, I haven't seen that before. So, I don't know, maybe he is the final boss. But we'll find that out later in the game, whether he is that hard to defeat. Now, the Stampede, he decided to run away, so we're going to take care of the WZ right now, and that means there are 4 enemies left. 3 of them are spotted. The 4th one is the Stampede, and we know where he is as well. So let's now deal with the Sheridan and the final boss over there. It's like, it would be, I think the game would be a lot more funny if all hit point bars would be that large, because, like, you couldn't see anything, but it would be hella funny. So, I would gladly sign a petition for Wargaming to implement those massive bars for everybody. Mandatory. You have to use them. There's no option to turn them off. They always are that big. So, I wonder what variable went wrong there. But now, that's the T30 done. The massive HP bar was not enough to save him from the onslaught of 4-on-1, and now the only one that is left is the standard B. So now we're going to rotate back to the spawn, because I know roughly where he is. You see me looking down at the beach, but he already made his way all the way to the back there. So that's 3,200 damage so far. It is a tank that works just about fine. Like, if you know how to play a E50, if you know how to play an M46 pattern, you will know how to play this one. Obviously, there are going to be slight exceptions every single time, but if you can play your regular tier 9 mediums, you can play this one. If you can't play tier 9 mediums, you can't play this one. Very similar. So, there. Now, how do you decide whether you get the pass or not? Because there isn't really much point. You can get the regular battle pass and just play through that, and you'll have pretty much a better value out of that, because this vehicle is not a must-have. So you have to decide here is, do you like the tank for the aesthetics of it, or do you want to do the uniqueness of the 3-shot 0.2 second intra-clip 160 alpha damage autoloader, which here's the problem with a 0.2 seconds intra-clip on a 3-shot autoloader. The second and third shell, you either have to wait for them, or they won't be accurate, because if your aim time is longer than your shell reload in the intra-clip, then your second and third shell will not be anywhere near accurate. So that's why I personally don't use that type of gun. This is very simple. But if you want to try that 3-shot, try it out. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's a reason to get the vehicle. Sure, it's a unique, interesting feature, but it's not a good feature, for that matter, that elevates the tank to a level that makes it worth money, pretty much. So if you like the vehicle for its looks, if you want to have that unique feature with the 3-shot 160 alpha damage gun, that does perform worse than this one. It has less DPM, it does have less accuracy, it does have less worse aim time, so it has slightly better standard penetration though, so it is worse than the single shot, but it is more unique, let's put it that way. So if that is the 2 deciding factors for this vehicle, do you want the unique gun, and do you like the look of the tank? Performance-wise, it's not great. It's a 5 out of 10. As the tank says already, it is a 5 out of 10. It's not terrible, it's not great, it just works. So, looks and the uniqueness of the gun. That is the 2 factors that you have to decide for yourself whether you get it or not. Because 12 euros, that's more than the regular Battle Pass. The regular Battle Pass has better rewards in it than the Event Pass right here. And there's also gold and stuff like that in there, which is useful. So that is going to be the 2 deciding factors, because it is your regular tier 9 medium tank. If you have a T55A and you play a T55A, just imagine that you're slower, but you have 50 more alpha damage. Then you have this vehicle right here, pretty much. So, nothing special. But, as you can see, you can perform quite well with it nonetheless, if you just simply position yourself properly on the map. And no tank is going to make a difference on whether you know how to position yourself. If you can play the others, you can play this one, most likely. If you know how to play a map, if you know how to position yourself, you're going to do just fine. Like, it's not a vehicle that's going to stop you from doing well like a T-44-100 would, right? This is a fine tank. But can I recommend it? Not really.